Howdy who, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. It's Monday. We got the stock market back open. All right, so the Dow's down about 150 points. NASDAQ's up a little. Not much fireworks going on Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin taking off, up about 5,000 today. Okay, but what I want to talk about today is real estate. Real estate. Why real estate? Well, it's a couple articles came out over the weekend, and BlackRock appears to be buying thousands and thousands of homes. Now, why would BlackRock be buying thousands of homes? They actually bought a whole neighborhood in Texas. The whole development was bought by BlackRock. Interesting, right? Now, they're paying above asking prices for these. They're paying 10%, 20%, 30% higher than asking prices. And of course, they have cash. They come in with all cash. So people like selling to BlackRock. Now, BlackRock's not the only one. I'm not picking on them in particular. They're one of a couple hundred of these big financial institutions that go out and buy single-family homes. Now, what do they do with these single-family homes? Well, they rent them to people. They rent to people like you, to me. They rent them out. They hold them. Okay, so how are they doing this? Why are they doing this? You know, we got housing prices at a record high, and they're paying above the record highs. Okay, so where are they getting the money from? Well, this is interesting. They're getting the money from the Federal Reserve. Now, you know how if you were to go out and buy a home right now, well, you'd go to the bank and you'd have to fill out all the paperwork and you'd have to beg and have a high credit score, and maybe they give you a loan, and let's say they give you the loan at 3%. So let's say you're buying $1 million house. Okay, 3%. I'm just talking interest only. Interest only. $1 million house, 3%. You got to come up with $30,000 a year to finance that house, to make the payments. Now, that's not counting property taxes, insurance, and maintenance and all that stuff. That's just the interest on the loan. All right, so what does BlackRock do? Well, they go to the lovely Federal Reserve and they go, can we borrow the $1 million? And the Federal Reserve says, sure. Well, how much interest do you want, Federal Reserve? 3% like normal people pay? No, we don't need 3. What about 2%? No, we don't need 2. What about 1%? Nah, we'll charge you 1/4%. So when BlackRock buys that $1 million home, interest only, they have to come up with $2,500 a year. $2,500 a year. That's it. That's all they got to come up with to pay the Federal Reserve the interest on the $1 million the Federal Reserve has loaned to them. Now, granted, they do this in much bigger numbers. They do it in billions and billions, and they buy thousands and thousands of homes. But they get these homes, $1 million home, let's say, and they have to pay $2,500 all year for the interest. Now, what do they do with that home? Well, they rent to people like you and me. Now, what does $1 million home rent for? Well, it rents for more than $2,500 a month, probably closer to $4,000 a month. So they get to rent it out for $4,000 a month and take that money in. Now they got to pay the Fed their $2,500, but $4,000 a month for the year, $48,000 they bring in, and they go, here, Federal Reserve, here's your $2,500. Okay, and they buy up all these homes. They buy up thousands and thousands of homes. They're buying whole cities in Texas. Now, is this a good thing? Is this a good thing? You see, now it's funny. It's funny. I want to talk about this. The Federal Reserve does not have money to loan to BlackRock. They do not. They print the money to loan to BlackRock. Okay, they print the money and they loan it to BlackRock. BlackRock goes and buys the home, and then they rent it out to you and me. Now, who pays for the printed money? Well, you and me, the taxpayer. So this is kind of ingenious. It's kind of ingenious on the Federal Reserve's side. They're using your money to make you an indebted slave. Okay, let's say BlackRock and the Federal Reserve are like this. They're tight. They're tight, right? Okay, so the Federal Reserve says to BlackRock, don't worry if the homes go down. We'll take the home back and we'll be the landlord and we'll rent it out. Now, should the Federal Reserve be in the business of renting out homes to you and me? I don't think so. I don't think they should. I think there's something kind of evil about this. But look, BlackRock gets to borrow at 0.25 1%, not 25%, not 1/4%. You and me, about 3%. Now, how do we go out and compete against BlackRock? Let's say you're someone who wants to buy a home right now. Well, the home prices are so inflated because the market's not real, because the Federal Reserve keeps printing the money and giving it to BlackRock to go and compete against you and me for that home that's for sale. So they win out because they're only paying 1/4%. You're paying 3%. They're going to be able to bid higher. They're going to be able to rent that out and cash flow positive, big time cash flow positive. Now, BlackRock wants to do this all day long because it makes them a lot of money. But who does it hurt? Hurts you and me. Hurts the marketplace. Hurts the marketplace. There's no free market. There's market distortions right now. Now, what's interesting to me is, okay, so I couldn't figure it out. We have the hottest real estate market in the history of the world right now. But yet the Federal Reserve is buying $40 billion to $80 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities. Now, what that does is that subsidizes the mortgage market. Now, why do we have to prop up the real estate market when it's the hottest market in the world? Well, the reason is that the Federal Reserve wants to own every mortgage out there. Why? Why do they want to own the mortgages? Right now, they own 1 out of every 3 mortgage, and they want to own 2 out of every 3 mortgage. Because when you can't make your payment, they want to take your house back. Don't worry. They'll rent it back to you. They're going to rent it back to you. Okay, so they got the BlackRock properties. They got loan the money to BlackRock to go out and get the houses going up higher, so you can't afford to buy a house. So you have to stay the indentured servant. You have to stay the renter. You have to stay the debt slave. Okay, so you're going to be the slave to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is going to end up owning all the houses. That's what they want to do. I can't, it's kind of evil to me. Leave a comment down below. Do you think this is a good thing for America? I do not. I think it's a little bit evil. I don't think that corporations should be allowed to go and buy up every home in the U.S. so that you and me cannot go buy up a home. We can't. The affordability factor is out of whack. Most people cannot afford to buy a home. That's how we are in a bubble, and this will come crashing down. And BlackRock, they're backed by the Fed. The Fed tells BlackRock, don't worry if the market crashes, we'll just take the houses back, and you won't have to pay us back the money. We'll take the houses back. And that's why they want to own all these mortgages. That's why they're buying $40 to $80 billion of mortgages in the hottest real estate market in the history of the world. This is bad. This is evil. This is crazy stuff, right? I mean, they're paying above asking, 10, 20, 30% above asking. They're borrowing money at 1/4%. Then they buy the house and they rent it back. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of these homes. But now they're buying whole cities. They build them up. The home builders build them up, and they get, no, don't sell to me. Don't sell to you. We're going to sell it to BlackRock. BlackRock's going to come in, give us 20% above the asking price, and then BlackRock's going to rent the houses. They're going to rent them out to you. I mean, maybe you will own nothing. Maybe you will. The Federal Reserve will own it all. Is that possible? Is that a good thing for the United States of America? I don't know. I don't think it is. Now, we got the eviction moratorium coming to an end at the end of the month, the 30th of June. But they're going to push this out farther. They're going to push it out again. There's 22 states that are fighting right now to have this extended out. Now, I mean, this is just crazy stuff that's going on. How does the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, have the power to do an eviction moratorium? They're breaking all constitutional law. But you know who else they want to wipe out? They want to wipe out the small landlord. I couldn't figure this out. They want that landlord out of the way because he's the small landlord, and we don't want him making any money. We want the Federal Reserve to be the big landlord in the United States of America. BlackRock to be the big landlord in the United States of America. This is terrible. This is just terrible. Yes, it's going to keep those houses propped up a little bit longer. I agree it's going to. It's going to extend it out another year, maybe another, out to 2022 before they crash. But they just want to extend it out so that they can get control of your house, my house. They want to control all the houses, and they want us to rent them from them. Now, I just think this is terrible, and I just wanted to talk about this, just get it off my chest a little bit. I think this has to be stopped. I think there's got to be some law passed that corporations cannot buy single-family homes. I don't know if that should be a law. Maybe it should. I think it should be a law that we get rid of the Federal Reserve because they're our enemy. They're not our friend right now. They're hurting us. They're hurting our country. And I love our country, and they're hurting us bad right now. They're sending our country into ruin by printing all this money, by they want to be your landlord. This is disgusting to me. It really is. But that's what's going on in the real estate market right now. Interesting stuff, interesting times. Anyways, if you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up if you really like it. Hit the subscribe button. We got the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Don't forget the Fed meeting on Wednesday. I think that's when some fireworks are going to start in the stock market. Is it going to explode higher or is it going to crash down? I think it's going to move the market. I really do. So hit that subscribe button and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye now. I'm Tall Mike. Bye-bye.